What's up YouTube, this is AOC85 here, coming to you with part 2 of this segment which I call the Heavenly Hosts. In this video we'll talk about the monster lineup for my Agent Fairy / Master Hyperion deck, and I'll talk about why I chose some of my monster choices and what these monsters do for those of you who aren't familiar with the new Agent monsters in Structure Deck 20, the Lost Sanctuary. So first off, familiar card for people who are fairy analysts. Is that even a real word? Anyway, Xeradius, Herald of Heaven. He's a 2100 beast-stick with 2100 attack and only 800 defense. Level 4 light fairy monster. His effect states, you can discard this card to the graveyard to add one copy of the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand. And if this card is face up on the field, but the Sanctuary in the Sky is not on the field, you destroy this card. So generally speaking, this is your Gravekeeper's Commandant of the deck. You discard him, get that field spell, adding to the consistency of being able to use your counter traps and your additional effect monster effects. This deck basically revolves around abusing counter traps and then the secondary effects of your ancient monsters. He's okay. He's obviously his main purpose is to get that field spell card, but as a beast stick, when you do have it, 2100 is nothing to look at. He goes toe to toe with Grandmaster, Cyber Dragon, runs over a lot of other stuff too. I just wish that he didn't have that effect that destroys him if you don't have a copy of that card of the field spell on the board. I guess when Konami made him, it was a time when Konami was, overprotective of making broken cards, so they figured a 2100 level 4 beat stick would be too much. I understand, but I guess in today's current meta, 2100 is nice for level 4, but it's not game breaking. They could possibly Konami, errata this card and remove the destruction effect. Just saying. Anyway, move on to the more interesting cards. Master Hyperion, level 8 fairy light monster with 2700 attack and 2100 defense, if you can see that right there. Now, as I said in my earlier video, this is a Japanese card, so you can't really read it, but I'll tell you guys the effects. You can remove from play one agent fairy monster from your hand, field, or graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. Okay, let's pause for a second. First of all, just so you remember, he can be tribute summoned like any other level 7 or higher monster by tributing 2 cards. It is possible. But what makes him so versatile is that you can remove cards from play from basically anywhere. Your hand, field, or graveyard. So even in the Gravekeeper's matchup, if they've closed up your graveyard, summon an ancient monster, remove it from play, bring out Hyperion, and go to work. Just beat down on your opponent. It is really, really versatile. It's really easy to get him out. He's never, at least for me, even at 3, he's never been a dead draw. In fact, I'm actually trying to think of more consistent ways to have him out, because usually turn 1, turn 2, if I have my other ancient fairy monsters out and I bring him out, he puts a lot of pressure on my opponent. Because even if they silent warning it, I can still monster reborn him because he's not a synchro or fusion monster, and he's not a Nomi monster, so he doesn't have to be special summoned. He doesn't actually have to be summoned for me to be able to bring him back with monster reborn or some other effects. So that makes him really, really versatile. In my opinion, he's one of the best boss monsters to ever come out of a structure deck. For me, tied, he's slightly above Machina Fortress. Machina Fortress is a boss, but that 2700 attack and the versatility of his summons is just too good to pass up. And on top of that, you can remove from play one light fairy monster in your graveyard to nuke one card on their field. If you control the Sanctuary in the Sky, you can do that effect up to twice per turn. This is what makes him not as powerful as Dark-Armed Dragon, as in you can't spam his destruction effect repeatedly, but makes him also less broken and more, more balanced in this current meta. And he's just getting that much more power with the Sanctuary in the Sky. Now, the Agent of Wonder, Earth. She's your Stratos. When this card is normal summoned, you can add from your deck to your hand one Agent Fairy monster. And if you control the Sanctuary in the Sky, you can add 1 copy of Master Hyperion. She's a level 2 tuner, light fairy monster, which means she's probably the most versatile searcher you could ever have. You search out this guy, your other agent monsters from your deck. And you can't search her out though with her effects. It's all ancient monsters except for her. But at 1,000 attack and 800 defense, you're not going to see her on the field too long, but she does search out stuff for you, and that's just plus right there. You have your 2 copies of the Agent of Miracles, Jupiter. He's an 1800 level 4 beast-stick. You can remove from play 1 light fairy monster in your graveyard to have remove from play 1 agent fairy monster from your graveyard to have 1 light fairy monster you control gain 800 attack during the battle. And this effect can be used during any time during you or your opponent's turn. So that means battle phase. Can anyone say mini honest? 800 is not too much, but it's enough to get over stuff. Like if you increase his attack to 800, he becomes a 2600 beast-stick. He gets over Stardust and Sheehan, Frozen Fitzgerald, and a lot of other stuff. So that's not anything to laugh at. And if you control a Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, you can discard 1 light fairy monster to special summon 1 of your remove from play special fairy monsters. So you remove a lot of fairies with Hyperion's effect, with cards from the sky, even with his effects, and you can bring those monsters back to your side of the field. Bring back a tuner to synchro, bring back a Venus to spam more Mystic Shine Balls, bring back Herald of Orange Light just to synchro, remove Honest, bring it back, bounce it back to your hand for battle phase protection, or when I side deck in my copies of Archelaus Christia, I can special summon him that way after I remove him from play and just lock my opponent down in terms of summons. The Agent of Creation Venus, what she does, you can read her effects on the card. Well, it doesn't come out too well on the camera, but you pay 500 life points to select 1 mystical shine ball from your hand or deck and special summon it to your side of the field. Now I run only 2 because she's only good for 1 reason only, for her effect of spamming Mystic Shine Balls. I mean, I guess 1600 attack is it's not too terrible, but it makes her bottomlessable. So it kind of sucks for that reason. And 1600 is not going to get over too much. But of course, with support from the Agent of Miracles, Jupiter, and Honest, she becomes somewhat more playable in terms of attacking. But I do a 3-to-2 ratio, 3 Mystic Shine Balls to 2 Agent of Creation Venus, so that I can spam these guys with White Elephant's Gift to draw cards, or just special summon them with Agent of Creation Venus. And using these 2 guys plus 2 Mystic Shine Balls gives you Trishula basically within 2 turns, basically, using these 2 cards alone. Because she special summons from the deck, you're not losing hand advantage, but you're bringing out Trishula, and you're definitely gonna do some damage to your opponent's field, graveyard, and hand. So it's pretty nice. 2 copies of Herald of Orange Light. As I said in my other video, she's an effect failure. You have to discard an additional light fairy monster from your hand to negate the activation of an effect monster's effect and destroy it, which kind of sucks, but sometimes she gets the job done. I'm still toying around with her. Like I go in between side decking her and main decking my 2 Archelaus Christias, but I mean I like to special summon myself. Like just whenever, like that's how my playstyle is, like special summoning Fiend. So if you're more of a control based person, I would side deck these 2 out for Archelaus Christia. But either way, she's a tuner, so she gives you more play options in terms of special summons. And finally, 1 copy of Honest. I'm not even gonna explain Honest. It's a light fairy monster, and if you don't know Honest's effects, real quick, you can discard him from your hand to your graveyard during the battle step to have 1 light fairy monster gain attack equal to the attacking monster's attack. That's for people who aren't too familiar. I'm not going to assume everyone knows Honest. That would be kind of like pompous of me. But for the record, there's a reason why Honest is limited to 1, because it's that damn good. Alright, so this is the monster lineup for my Agent Fairy deck. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, post them down there and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks, YouTube. Peace out.